The Nintendo eShop is absolutely stacked this week, and I've gathered some of the best deals across every genre, from breathtaking adventures and classic shooters to heartfelt storytelling and JRPG royalty. Whether you're in the mood to explore, fight, or just unwind, there's something here for every kind of player. So grab a brew, get your wallet out, and let's dive into 10 amazing Nintendo eShop deals you really don't want to miss. There's a pretty chunky Square Enix sale on at the minute, over 50% off on many of the franchises, new and old alike. And I won't go into every game, but make sure to check it out. But for now, I'll open up with a modern masterpiece. Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age. This is one of the finest JRPGs ever made, and the definitive edition on the Switch includes every bit of extra content, side quests, and orchestral music that the series deserves. You play as a luminary, a chosen hero on a journey that balances heartwarming storytelling with cinematic spectacle. The turn-based combat feels timeless, simple yet satisfying, and the world is absolutely massive, filled with secrets, characters, and charm. The added ability to toggle between HD 3D visuals and classic 16-bit mode is an incredible touch for fans of the series' roots. Some JRPGs can drag, but this one keeps you hooked for dozens of hours. It's one of the most complete packages ever made, and in the debate for my favourite JRPG of all time, and I personally cannot wait for Dragon Quest XII to get a release date. But for now, Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition is currently 50% off, costing £17.49 or your currency's equivalent until November 17th in the UK and Europe, and November 20th in North America. From classic fantasy heroes to high-speed aerial warriors, our next game takes to the skies. The Falconeer Warrior Edition is a visually stunning open-air combat adventure that puts you in control of a massive warbird soaring across a vast oceanic world. You will engage in high-speed dogfights, explore mysterious islands, and uncover the layered lore of its divided factions. The art direction is spectacular, painterly skies and sweeping landscapes that look fantastic. The combat is tight and fluid, with a surprising amount of tactical depth once you master flight and momentum. A few missions can feel repetitive at times, but the experience of soaring through the lightning storms and battling airships make up for it tenfold. This game feels grand, cinematic, and refreshingly different, and is currently just £4.99 or your country's equivalent. An 80% discount until November 20th in the UK and Europe, and November 21st in North America. Now moving on from the open skies to something far closer to home, colourful, cosy, and full of life. Nikoderiko is a love letter to classic side-scrolling platformers. You play as two siblings exploring a vibrant, handcrafted world filled with secrets, puzzles, and imaginative creatures. It's brimming with charm. Every level feels alive with personality, from lush jungles to mechanical layers. The platforming is tight, responsive, and accessible for all ages, but there's enough challenge to keep veterans entertained too. The soundtrack and visuals radiate Saturday morning cartoon energy in the best possible way. It's the perfect pick for handheld play, the kind of game that reminds you why you love Nintendo hardware in the first place. Some levels feel a touch too long, but its joyful creativity makes every minute worthwhile, especially whilst it is 40% off, currently £15.59 or your region's equivalent. A little on the pricier side, but this is a great little modern platformer which is on sale until November 17th in the UK and Europe and November 18th in North America. And speaking of nostalgia, let's rewind a few decades to revisit a prehistoric favourite that's still a blast today. If you grew up blasting dinos in the 90s, this one's going to hit you right in the nostalgia. Turok 1 and 2 Remastered bring those iconic N64 shooters back to life with smoother frame rates, modern controls, and crisper HD visuals. You play as a warrior, protecting the world from ancient evils, but really, you're here for the explosive weapons and endless dino-slaying mayhem. Turok 2 in particular still holds up as a fantastic early example of level design creativity with sprawling maps and insane weapons like the cerebral boar. The remaster keeps the old school charm intact while trimming away some of the rougher edges. You could argue not enough was done. It is a product of its time, but if you want a retro fix with modern comfort, these are two classics worth adding to your library, especially for just £3.15 and £3.94 respectively, an 80 and 75% discount until November 16th in the UK and Europe and November 17th in North America. Not only are these great remnants of the past, people tend to forget that to complete both of these, you are looking at well over 20 hours of gameplay. It's definitely worth a punt. Next up is some pixel-perfect bullet hell. This game keeps the adrenaline flowing. Enter the Gungeon is an absolute classic in the indie roguelike space. You dive into a labyrinth of rooms filled with enemies, bosses, and loot, all themed around guns and bullet patterns. It's fast, frantic, and ridiculously replayable, with each run feeling different thanks to its procedural design and absurd weapon variety. The pixel art is clean, the humour is sharp, and the soundtrack hits perfectly to keep you in the zone. It's tough but fair, and mastering its dodge roll timing is pure satisfaction. Some runs can feel punishingly random, but when everything clicks, it's gaming bliss. On the Switch, it runs perfectly, easy to pick up, impossible to put down. 20 hours of content for one playthrough, but in reality, it has endless replayability, and at just £2.69 or your currency's equivalent, this is a bargain. 75% off until November 17th in the UK and Europe, and November 20th in North America. Time to swap silly for serious and step into an epic tale that's been decades in the making. Created by veterans of the Eiyuden series, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is a gorgeous classic-style JRPG that blends 2D sprites with lush 3D environments. The story revolves around war, rebellion, and found family, told through a massive cast of over 100 recruitable characters. The combat system feels both nostalgic and modern, balancing tactical turn-based battles with fast animation and party synergy. The world building is fantastic, full of heart and political intrigue. It never quite hits the same highs as its spiritual predecessor, but it was never going to. It was always meant to be an homage, and it scratches that itch, and likely had an impact on the remastering of Suikoden 1 and 2. A few text-heavy moments can slow the pace, but the writing and presentation make it worth savouring. If you've been craving a new old-school JRPG that feels built with genuine passion, this is it. It easily offers over 50 hours of gameplay and is currently 65% off, costing £15.74 or your region's equivalent, until November 20th in the UK and Europe, and November 21st in North America. As we move on from Grand Wars and Legendary Heroes, we pivot to something quieter but no less thought-provoking. Citizen Sleeper turns the idea of a space RPG into something intimate and human. You play as a synthetic being trying to survive in a lawless space station, managing your dwindling resources, forming relationships, and uncovering stories of those around you. It's less about action and more about choices, atmosphere, and reflection. The writing is stellar, grounded, emotional, and quietly powerful. Each cycle feels meaningful as you balance survival with empathy. The pacing is deliberate, which may not be for everyone, but it's one of the most engaging narrative experiences on the Switch, and you are looking at about 10 solid hours of content for just £5.39 or your country's equivalent. 70% off until November 13th in the UK and Europe, and November 14th in North America. Now, from quiet reflection to something much darker, a haunting fairy tale that will chill and mesmerize in equal measure. Bramble, the Mountain King, is a dark fairy tale adventure that's equal parts beautiful and unsettling. Inspired by Nordic folklore, you play as a boy searching for his sister in a world filled with trolls, giants, and ancient horrors. The visuals are breathtaking, painterly, detailed, and at times genuinely terrifying. The game balances moments of peace and wonder with intense emotional set pieces. The pacing can dip in the quieter stretches, but its atmosphere and storytelling are incredible. It's haunting, but in the best way. The game really stays with you long after you've put it down. And it really was quite moving. It's currently £4.99 or your region's equivalent, an 80% discount until November 20th in the UK and Europe, and November 21st in North America. And while you may only get about 5 hours out of this, I really would recommend it for those more partial to a moving narrative. And far removed from deep story, let's bring things back to something bright, inventive, and just plain fun to play. If you're into slick, high-speed action and neon-soaked dystopias, Ruiner is pure adrenaline. Set in the year 2091 in the cyberpunk city of Renkok, you play as a masked vigilante on a violent mission to rescue your kidnapped brother. The game oozes style, sharp red lighting, pounding electronic music, and brutal combat that feels both tactical and chaotic. You will dodge, dash, and dismantle enemies with precision, swapping between melee and ranged attacks on the fly. The difficulty can be punishing, but every encounter feels like a dance once you get into the rhythm. It's short, sharp, and unforgettable. I'd never actually heard of this, but it turned out to be fantastic, with its moody atmosphere, punchy pacing, and stunning visuals and lighting effect. From what I've seen, it offers about 6 hours of gameplay, but for £2.99 or your region's equivalent, that looks like it could be a bargain. An 82% discount until November 17th in the UK and Europe, and November 20th in North America. And finally, we close today's roundup on something heartfelt and unforgettable. The Last Day of June is a deeply emotional narrative experience that explores love, loss, and what it means to change fate. You play as Carl, reliving the same day over and over, trying to alter events to save his partner. The watercolour visuals and gentle soundtrack are beautiful, and its simple mechanics let the story shine. It's short, moving, and quietly devastating in the best way. One of those games you finish and just think about for a while. If you appreciate narrative-driven experiences that tug on the heartstrings, this one deserves a spot in your library. Even as a short experience, it packs a massive punch, and for £3.99 or your currency's equivalent, it's difficult to turn down. A bargain of a price until November 16th in the UK and Europe, and November 17th in North America. And that wraps things up for this week's Nintendo eShop sales roundup. From aerial combat and heartfelt stories to retro chaos in modern indies, there's something here for everyone. And don't forget to check out the Square Enix sale. There are some absolute bangers there for well over 50% off. If you found a new game to play, drop a comment and let me know what you're picking up, especially if it's something I missed. But with that said, thanks for watching, stay cozy, and I'll see you around.